Over the years, I've become less of a coaster enthusiast and more of a theme park enthusiast. Yes, obviously roller coasters are the main reason most people enjoy visiting a park, and when it comes to enjoying a park, a better coaster lineup will be more enjoyable for me. However, as I've visited more parks throughout the years, I've become very keen on enjoying the park's atmosphere, looks, variety of rides, food, and of course, operations. So for this video, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite parks. Now, some of the parks on this list are theme parks, but I'm just going to use the umbrella term amusement parks, since not all of them are full-fledged theme parks. Also, I can guarantee you that there will be opinions on this list that you do not agree with whatsoever. But that's the good thing, everyone's opinion is different, and that's what makes these videos so much fun. And of course, let me know in the comments below what you think about my opinions and share your opinions with me. Also, this might be a longer video since I don't have individual reviews on each of these parks, so I'm going to be going a little in depth about the parks, and maybe I'll create individual reviews to go more in depth in the future. Also, really sorry that I pretty much haven't been active on YouTube whatsoever and only been uploading some low effort videos. I pretty much wake up at like 8 a.m. every day and then go to school and then don't get home until like 9 p.m. because music majors do be working a lot with schoolwork and stuff. And then of course Six Flags just opened, so I've been working weekends like pretty much the entire day, 12 hours a day. So yeah, here's a video because Six Flags closed today and there's it's raining. So starting out strong with the top 10 is KNOEBELS in ELYSBURG, Pennsylvania. There's something just about this park that is just absolutely so charming to me. It's in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, has mostly dirt paths, and is pay per ride. Now, at first this sounds like more of a permanent carnival, but in reality it is just so much more. The park gives that feeling as if you step back into time in a different era of amusement parks. There's random theming throughout, cheap food, trees everywhere, and it just feels like a park plopped down in the middle of a tiny little town, and all the rides are the businesses where you feel like you're a customer that's been going there your entire life. Speaking of which, almost all the employees here are super nice, efficient, and willing to help you out. I really only had one negative interaction with the security of the park once, but it was resolved pretty quick. Every time I visited the park, I've had a fantastic time, and KNOEBELS is one of the parks that is just easy to walk around and enjoy. There's really something for everybody here. The thrill seekers will obviously love Phoenix and Twister, which are the top tier wooden coasters of the park. There's tons of flat rides, some of which are classics like the Flyers, the Bumper Cars, Haunted Mansion, Looper, and of course, the Carousel. There are 2 water rides, a fun log flume, and a soaking shoot-the-chutes ride, along with the public pool that you really never see at amusement parks. There are also some relaxing rides for people who don't enjoy rides, like a beautiful skyway that heads up the neighboring mountain, the train ride, and of course, the antique cars. I've mentioned the food here before. I've never had a bad food option at KNOEBELS, and the worst you can describe it as is just good. Most of the food here is great or absolutely delicious, and it is much cheaper than most parks. There's also an attached campground if you want to spend multiple days here, or check out the surrounding area since there's probably tons of outdoorsy stuff to do, along with some other locations not too far away. Overall, KNOEBELS is an amazing park, and I always try to make it here at least once a year. Number 9. Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. This is another family-owned park with tons of great things about it. Holiday World is themed to various holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, and Halloween. The park is similar to KNOEBELS where it's in the middle of nowhere, but it draws a pretty large crowd. When I visited, my group stayed in the attached campground, and it was a pretty great experience. From there, you can either take the 10 or 15 minute walk to the park, or drive your car over, which is what we did since we wanted to go back to the car and put stuff in during our 2 days at the park. Parking is free of charge, which is amazing. Once in the park, there's lots of trees, well-kept landscaping, and nice-looking buildings along with light theming to the various holidays and the park's history since it originally opened as Santa Claus Land. The ride lineup is pretty great with the 3-star wooden coasters, Voyage, Raven, and Legend, along with Thunderbird, their B&M wing coaster, which was unfortunately closed during my visit, but I'm sure it's one of the best wing coasters around because that's what everyone always says. The park has various flat rides, a fun Thanksgiving-themed dark ride, water rides which include a very refreshing log flume, and a rapids ride, and if that's not enough, it has one of the world's best water parks attached right next door. Splash and Safari is an amazing water park. Unfortunately, I didn't spend much time in there, but with only experiencing Mammoth and the wave pool, this is my second favorite water park, only behind DreamWorks Water Park at American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The food here is also great and fairly priced from what I remember. There is a place next to Voyage that was absolutely delicious and the portions were massive. If you attend their main event, Hollywood Nights, they also have a catering area open quite a bit, and the food there was pretty good too. And speaking of food, the park provides free soda to everyone all the time. This is one of the best features I've ever seen at the park, and at any park at all. Lake Compounds used to do this, but I do not believe they do this anymore, which is pretty unfortunate. You walk up to the unstaffed Pepsi Oasis locations and get whatever you want, and there's usually air conditioning below inside of them too, so it's definitely a nice way to cool off. The staff here is also extremely friendly, efficient, and also they deal with Hollywood Nights once a year. Personally, as a ride-op, I don't know if I could have dealt with the chanting enthusiasts for hours upon end until like nearly 1 in the morning, but I applaud them for it. Hollywood Nights is a great experience, but I also want to experience the park without the event to see how I enjoy it without it. Speaking of the kindness of their employees, the park's general hospitality is great. I mentioned before how Thunderbird was closed during our visit, and since that happened, they gave us free tickets to come back later in the year to compensate. They really did not have to do this, and I couldn't imagine another park even doing it. Holiday World is in a weird location, but if you have the means to get there, definitely check it out because this place is fantastic. Number 8, Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This park I go back and forth on, and the main reason this park is in my top 10 is the great coaster collection with Skyrush, Storm Runner, Candemonium being the current stars, and of course the upcoming Wildcats Revenge will make this park even more top heavy with its lineup. Hershey also has an attached water park and a zoo, which is great if you're not super into rides. There's also a decent amount of family rides here and a small collection of flat rides. Hershey also has 2 water rides to choose from that aren't in the water park, so Coal Cracker, which is one of my favorite log flumes, and of course their Shoot Ride. The food here is really nothing special, but of course Hershey Park goes hard on the sweets. The king size shakes aren't really my thing since I'm not super keen on overly sweet things, but I'm sure they're great for anyone with a sweet tooth. If you don't want to eat in the park, right at the front gate is Milton's, which is an amazing restaurant. And even though this isn't in the park, Chocolate World is right outside, and I consider that as part of the park experience. The main reason this park isn't any higher is because of its looks and operations. Now, Hershey Park doesn't look bad at all. It's actually decent looking. And the first half of the park looks absolutely fantastic. However, as soon as you walk over near the water park and Fahrenheit, it just looks very average. Hershey also loves plastering asphalt over the place, and some parts of the park have no shade whatsoever, and I mainly stay in the front of the park anyways, but the back section always feels like somewhere I really just didn't want to spend time at all. Rides are also just randomly placed down with no cohesion from section to section. My main pet peeve with this park is the operations though. If you've ever been to Hershey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. On a busy day, lines that should be 30 to 45 minutes turn into 2 to 3 hours. Capacity monsters like Great Bear and Candemonium always have the slowest moving lines in the park, besides this abomination of a wooden coaster. Overall, Hershey is still one of my favorite parks, and it's decently close to home, so I try to make it here once or even twice a year. Number 7, Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. I know a lot of you are questioning why I put Great Adventure over Hershey, but there's a few reasons. To start, Great Adventure also has a fantastic ride lineup. The park stars are El Toro, Jersey Devil, Nitro, and King Ka, with amazing supporting coasters. There is not a single bad coaster in this park in my opinion. Yes, that includes Green Lantern. The park also sports a great lineup of flat rides, with Zumanjaro and Wonder Woman being the stars of them. There's also plenty of family rides here, and the park has a decent amount of family coasters and kids rides too. If you like water rides, the park has the Sawmill Log Flume, which is a fun aero flume, and Congo Rapids, which is a decent intimate rapids ride. The park also has some classics with one of the last Von Roll Skyways and a Schwarzkopf Ferris wheel. Now yes, some portions of the park don't look amazing, but the park has been starting to fix that in the last few years, and I've always loved the location in the woods, allowing for tons of areas with shade. The food here seems better than the average Six Flags park. I've eaten a lot of food here between it being my home park and working there, and some of the best locations include Granny's, Best of the West, Fat Burger, and Chop 6. Great Adventure's operations also always lean on the better side of things. The park has 5 B&Ms that are mostly capacity monsters, and even rides like El Toro and Jersey Devil eat through lines really quick and can keep up with the B&Ms. Same thing with Skull Mountain. In fact, Skull Mountain usually has some of the most ridership out of any coaster at Great Adventure. With the park fixing its guest experience every year and its appearance, it may show up higher up on the list in the future. A lot of people hate this park, which I don't get at all. This has never been a bad park in my opinion, and basically the operations and the better food help top Hershey Park in their current forms. Number 6, King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. The first Cedar Fair park on this list starts out pretty strong. King's Dominion has a fantastic top 2 with Twisted Timbers and I-305. Dominator is an awesome supporting coaster, and hopefully with Grizzly getting a major refurb this year, the park will have another great supporting coaster on their hands. There's also a decent amount of flat rides and failing rides here to help round out the park's lineup. The main thing that puts this so high is not only the top 2 coasters, but the great atmosphere of this park. The park is extremely well landscaped and has some parts of it that has that Great Adventure Deep in the Woods vibe to it. The park has music for each section, which I think is a great touch also, and the operations aren't that bad either. Twisted Timbers has some of the best operations for an RMC, or the last time I was there, the crew was rolling trains, and also not to mention, the food here is great. Grain and Grill, which is a restaurant in the front of the park, has some amazing options, and the food is some of the best I've had at any park. My favorite part of the park is by far International Street. It is one of my favorite areas of any park for that matter. The giant pools with the surrounding great looking shops, foliage, and tree coverage really makes it feel like you didn't just walk into a Cedar Fair park, since they are typically concrete jungles. Cedar Point. The whole area is of course tied together by the Eiffel Tower, and I really love the idea of having a grand entrance with a decorative observation tower right up front, or some sort of beautiful scenery piece. Great Adventure used to have this with the Fort Independence, and honestly I really miss it, but King's Dominion is still one of my favorite parks, and once again, I try to get here as much as possible. However, it is a little bit of a farther drive from home. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know I said this was going to be a longer video, but I wanted to keep it around the 10-minute mark, which is already passed. So I'm going to have 10 to 6 in this video, and the next video will be 5 to 1. Hopefully I'll have it out sometime soon, but obviously, as I mentioned before, with my school schedule, who knows? But school is ending soon, so hopefully we'll see the next part pretty soon. Once again, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, leave your comments down below on what you think of this video, and of course, subscribe for more content just like this, and if you subscribe, it'll give me motivation to make the second part of this video. Once again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in that second part.